and in Tallahassee, and we're going into the Metro classification here with the Class 4M and the defending state champion Columbus Explorers and head coach Dave Dunn joining us here. And coach, congratulations on getting back to the state championship game once more. And here's another chance for your Explorers to get another state championship. And so, I mean, right here, I mean, I know it's been a test of a season for y'all. I know y'all have had some injuries and stuff. So talk about, the way the season's gone for y'all and how y'all have gone through the adversity of dealing with some injuries, especially at the quarterback position, which I know it's the key position here.
First and foremost, we're obviously excited and thrilled to be in the state championship game for the second time and are in back-to-back years. We've had some injuries across the board, but I think it's, in the long run, it's made us better. Alberto, our starting quarterback, missed a few games, broke a finger. We've had a couple injuries on the defensive line and at linebacker. Overall, your team just kind of fills in and we find a way to win. And we've been able to do that, especially in the playoffs on a consistent basis. We're blessed and lucky to be where we are.
No, absolutely, and this schedule that y'all have played, y'all have had a couple, losses along the way here. You lost to Homestead during the regular season, but then you lost to Miami Norland, a team that's going to be playing for a state championship in their own classification in 2M here coming up here this weekend as well. So, what is it about, in terms of when y'all look at the schedule here, the teams that y'all have had to play, the fact that y'all been able to play the best of the best along the way. When you schedule that way, does that make y'all even better in terms of that strength of being able to do that, compared to other teams that you may face along the way in the playoffs or even in the opposing opponent in the state championship game where, hey, they may have not played any teams that have made the state championship game, whereas y'all have done that. Two teams that are actually playing the state championship game.
Yeah, I think that the regular season is obviously your team's got to develop during the year. You want to play tough people because you got to get yourself ready for the postseason. I feel our goal every year is to try to find the toughest schedule we can, and we play some pretty good football teams. We played Miami Palmetto, we played Tampa Jesuit, obviously the aforementioned Norland and Homestead, the two losses we have. Both teams playing for state titles. Played Clearwater Academy International, another good ball club. We try to find the toughest schedule we can. Hope it gets us prepared for the playoffs. And then, be playing our best football at the end of November and December.
No, absolutely. And of course, as I mentioned here, Homestead and Norland, both teams playing in state championship games this year. Homestead in 3M, Norland in 2M. And Coach, when we look at this team, when we look at everything about the Explorers this year, looking at the numbers, Alberto Mendoza, you said, as we mentioned, he sustained an injury that held him sidelined for a few weeks, but he's still been doing pretty well on the field. But you got other guys out there that are doing some incredible things out there. And of course, looking at your leading receiver, Jose Leon, I mean, 670 yards right there. I mean, what is it about your offense outside of Alberto Mendoza that that you really enjoy about them this year and the way they have been able to work for y'all?
Yeah, the big thing is we just try to get the ball to the best guys we can. Jose's been our top receiver the last 2 years with him, and then when obviously him and Alberto played a ton of football together, and they've been able to click for the last 2 years. Also, Benjamin Blackburn, our tight end, has been another big part of it. So. We're excited to have those three guys back this year, and they're playing really good football right now.
No, absolutely, and those guys. But when it comes to looking at in terms of winning ball games, that defense definitely is a key factor here. And looking at it, you got Willis McGahee the fourth there. When we talk about the names here, he's 14 sacks this year. That was so far on the season. When you talk about your guys on defense, What are the big parts that have stood out for the Explorers? Because y'all need a defense to win some of these games. You needed some defensive stands to make a stop. So talk about them and what your expectation here coming into the state championship game with them.
I think we'll always be a program that emphasizes defense and special teams first. That's our calling card. We're blessed to have a very, very good defensive line this year. Not only Willis McGahee, Dalen Russell, Dylan Stevenson, and Rob Williams. All four players that are playing at extremely high level right now. They're the leaders of our team. As they go, we go, as they say. they've really made it hard for teams to run the ball on us in the playoffs, and they've also been able to be, especially Willis being the leader of the pack in terms of the pass rush, have been able to put pretty good pressure on opposing quarterbacks to make their nights pretty tough as well when they try to air it out.
And looking at all of this in terms of everything with this game coming up, this is a rematch from the 2018 8A state championship game between Columbus and Mandarin. You weren't there that year. You became the head coach the next year following that after the state championship victory. But I know the talk was that everybody remembers that game, and of course y'all came in 2019 and you won that first state championship game that year down up in Daytona. What is it about this, the matchup here with Mandarin that, what do you see from Mandarin looking at them? What has you maybe concerned? Hey, we got a good opportunity here to repeat. What do you see in the Mustangs?
They're a big physical football team. They run the ball extremely high level. They have two real good running backs. Their defensive line is big. They're one of the bigger D lines we've played against. They have elite talent in the secondary. Three of their guys, one of them I think's got an Alabama offer. The other two guys are committed to Penn State. So this will be the best secondary we've played against, and probably the biggest defensive line we played against. Very potent offensive attack, though. It's they can run it and throw it. The quarterback's committed to Florida State. There's not a lot of weaknesses in Mandarin. The thing that surprises me that they lost 3 games. That think they like anybody else, you have a couple turnovers here or there, and there's always going to be some hiccups along the way. But I think it makes you better. This is going to be our toughest test to date, in my opinion.
Now, the toughest test to date, in opinion, and of course, y'all are going to be playing in the state championship game come this weekend on Friday at 3:00. I mean, Coach, I know this is not the norm. Y'all played some 6:00 games. Maybe a 4:00 game here, but never a 3:00 game here during the season. So, how do you get your guys ready in terms of preparing for an afternoon game versus being under the lights? So, for the state championship game and the Class 4M game, on Friday.
We've had unfortunately, because of some scheduling conflicts, we've played a few day games. So I don't think at this point it'll phase either team. Also, we practice usually at 5:45 in the morning. So our guys, they're used to transitioning.
That's the early wake-up call.
Yeah, they're used to transitioning from the dark into the light. So even if it does get dark early, our guys won't have a problem handling if the sun goes down and it transitions from the light into the dark. We'll be fine.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, this game is going to be 3:00 at Ken Riley Field at Bragg Memorial Stadium in Tallahassee on the campus of Florida A&M University. And Coach, I know for y'all, this is a long road trip. This is not, it's right up the road to Dry Pink Stadium like it was the last couple of years. This is a much longer road trip. So how do y'all handle that in terms of the amount of travel that y'all are going to have to deal with and face here? Is it going to be, getting on the bus, 2 days early, a day early, getting up there to Tallahassee? Because I know that's going to be a lot on for you guys to get ready, and I know y'all are going to need to find a way to practice in between all that with the traveling.
We're pretty lucky. We played Benedictine High School in Savannah, Georgia before. We played Bartram Trail up in Jacksonville. We play a game in the Tampa area every year, so we're used to overnight trips. We're used to traveling on buses. I think at this point, our young men are so excited to play in this game. If we drove to Washington, D.C., they would be pumped up to play this game. They just want to get on the bus and get ready and let it roll on Friday at 3:00.
No, absolutely. And of course, how do you like it that this is on a college campus for the first time in a long time? Because I know that as people have been saying, hey, well, it needs to go to a college campus or a pro stadium, and it needs to go back somewhere, not be like, in a place where, the kids should be able to get an experience. You feel like this will be a great experience for your kids to be able to be playing the state championship game in a college football stadium?
I think so. Getting on a college campus is always, it's like you always want to play a level up from where you're at. You're in high school, you want to play in a college stadium. When I was a college coach, occasionally you get to play in an NFL stadium. That was always a great experience for the teams that I've coached. Our kids are excited to go up to FAMU and play on their campus. That being said, I think if we played the game in our practice field out back, they would be just as excited. At the end of the day, it's a championship game, and the venue is a part of it. But I think our kids are really kind of locked in and focused on, on Mandarin. That's our big focus right now and our big concern.
No, absolutely. And Coach, congratulations on the Explorers making the state championship game once more here to defend their state championship from last year. And we'll see you Friday afternoon at Bragg Memorial Stadium there on the campus of Florida A&M University. And best of luck to y'all.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me.
No, appreciate it. That's head coach Dave Dunn from the Columbus Explorers joining us here on FloridaHSFootball.com. Stay tuned to FloridaHSFootball.com for more state championship content coming here as we cover the state championships in Tallahassee this weekend.